Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a series review to the Traitors. So far, I've only watched one episode, so I'm literally just basing my review on the one episode that I've watched. But series 1 of the Traitors was absolutely incredible. It has come back and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to watch it. So without further ado, I'm just going to do a little bit of a review for every single episode. And if you do enjoy my reviews, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe for more. And also, if you are watching along or if you have watched or are watching the series, comment down below who are your favourite players in the game, what did you expect, what has happened so far, and you know, if I agree or disagree, I'll reply to you in the comments and let you know of my opinions as well. But let's get some conversation started, shall we? And are you a faithful or are you a traitor? That's the most important question. But no, anyway, so in today's video, I'm going to be doing the first episode review of the show. So it's one of those shows that you kind of have to just be a good thinker. And depending on whether you are a faithful or a traitor, you have to have a completely different gameplay. So basically, in the most simple way of explaining the game, you have 22 players that are put into a castle, and I know in series 1 there was 3 traitors, and they basically had to play the game as if they were just like anyone else, but the main aim of the game was the traitors needed to start taking the faithfuls out one at a time, and if the traitors all remained at the end, or if at least one of the traitors remained at the end, they would obviously win the cash prize. So it was that half and half decision of, do you take all of your traitor friends with you, but then you have to split the money with them, or get rid of some faithfuls, go against your traitors, take them out one by one, and then obviously you are the final traitor and you get all the money. And then as a faithful, your aim is to kind of not be taken out, so you want to kind of stay under the radar, you want to kind of make friendships, allies in numbers to take people who you think are traitors out of the game without taking innocent people out to then make you look guilty. So it's one of those very complicated games. It's like Cluedo, the board game, so it's basically like Cluedo but just in real people form. So yeah, as of now, we obviously have our 3 traitors. We're just about to find out in episode 2 who the 4th traitor is, and we have been introduced to all 22 people. We don't know everything about all of them, and we haven't really seen much chat between them all, but we have been introduced to them, and we've seen them all in action in at least the first mission. So, before the game even started, Claudia said to the owl with the paper with the signature thing of, you know, are you a faithful or a traitor, that it's time to start the game. So, like I explained, 22 players in the Scottish Highlands, and there's up to £120,000 worth of money to obviously win from the game. So some of the first people that we were introduced to, we had Anthony, 45 years old, chess coach, Charlotte, 32, recruitment manager. We just found out there was someone called Paul, but didn't find anything out about him at this point. Sonia, 66, retired volunteer. Diane, 63, a retired teacher. Ash, 45, events coordinator. Aubrey, 62, a retired shop owner. Then we found out that Paul was 36 and he was a business manager. Zach, 27, and he was a parliamentary affairs advisor. And Tracy, 58, a psychic medium, sonographer and clairvoyant. I think that's kind of what that means in a complicated way, but yeah, she's basically like a psychic. So I think out of just seeing those first few people, it was kind of like, oh my god, we're genuinely starting the series now. And it was all the shots of them on the train or saying hello to each other. They're all there in their like different vehicles and holding their suitcase and stuff as if they were going on like a school trip. And it was nice to kind of see, oh look, somebody else coming. Oh look, there's more people. Oh look, I think we were going to the same place, because obviously there's not many people that will go on a train with a suitcase in the middle of nowhere to a castle for 3 weeks or however long they're there for. So I mean, just out of those few people so far, I thought Paul was quite confident. Didn't really get to know much about Charlotte. Anthony came across quite funny. Obviously Diane, Sonia, Aubrey, Tracy, they're kind of older players, so maybe they have a little bit more life experience, or you know, they're not gonna play the game exactly the same way as the younger ones would play the game, whereas they're like more fun or whatever. I'm not saying older people are not fun, I'm just saying they're gonna be a little bit more serious because they're like, actually, this money, like in my later life, I genuinely need. So they're going to do whatever they can to befriend the younger ones, I guess, be like their motherly, fatherly figures to kind of help them get further through the game. Aubrey actually seemed quite funny as well. Zach, 27, so he's actually really cute. He looks like he's from London. He looks very well dressed, very well presented. So you know, he's one of my eye candy guys at the moment. So that's, I'll just be honest. Claire, 34, she's a mental health manager. I think she seems a bit nervous. Obviously, every time she talks to camera, I think it's because she's like, she doesn't. It's almost like she doesn't know why she's here. Like, yeah, she seems confident, but I feel like she's quite shy, or you know. Obviously, she doesn't know who people are and how people are playing the game. So I think she's definitely somebody to watch out for, not as something that potentially is a weakness for her or her game. I just think maybe she hasn't come out of her shell as of right now. And then at the beginning of the game, so from what we had in the first series, was they basically had to line up in a line from who they thought themselves was most likely to win and least likely to win. And we saw Andrew, so the big muscly lad, he went to the far left, as in like most likely to win, and Ash, she went towards the end. So remember, she's the events coordinator, so she went all the way to the end as if like she's the least likely to win. And this was the point of the game where Claudia basically said, right, the 2 people right at the bottom, you're eliminated from the game, that's it, 20 people left. But she just did a little thing to camera, and she basically was like, as if we'd do the same thing. So she said, right, all of you go in, have a drink, go explore. So it was quite funny, but I guess at the same time, those 2 at the bottom could have potentially been eliminated. But then I guess, you know, the same thing's not gonna happen again, because then you wouldn't have gone down there. Otherwise you just remove yourself from the game. We also got introduced at this point to Miles. So he's 36, he's a veterinary nurse. I think he's gay. Just very obvious, like with his like, you know, actions and the way he speaks and stuff. But again, he seems very confident, and I think he'd be quite good as a traitor. And then you had Andrew, that's the guy, big muscly guy, he's an insurance broker. Could potentially also be a boxer as well, who knows. Meg, 22, illustrator, again, she seems quite shy at the moment. I don't think we've seen enough of her yet for me to have an opinion on her, she's just kind of there. And then again, Jasmine, 26, sales executive, same kind of thing from her. So Miles, the veterinary nurse, actually realised that there was another veterinary nurse in the game as well. So I don't think bonded over it, but they both realised, oh my god, there's actually somebody else that is in the same profession as me. And he basically said that he's going to use the skills from his job in order to kind of get him through the Traitors game. And he said that at the moment everyone's getting on like a house of fire, but at some point it's going to change. We then found out Harry, 22, he's a British Army engineer. He said one of the things that he was taught when he was in the army was that if you can't be good, be careful. And if you do things without being caught, that's the way to do it, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. He said if you do something and you don't get caught, that's the better way to do it rather than doing something and being caught, but I guess that's quite obvious. And then he said that people usually either want to kiss his face or punch it. So I guess he said he's going to kind of come across as just a genuine self. And then just kind of see what happens. And then obviously we found out that there was another player called Brian, he's 33, he's a photographer. Again, didn't really find out much about him as of now, but we were kind of just introduced to him at this point in the game. So Claudia's gone around the circle with her little high heels, and she basically tapped 3 people on the shoulders, and they were the 3 people that were the traitors for the game. So she picked Paul first, so he's the business manager. So he was chosen first. I think he was a good choice just because, like I said, he is a very confident man, and I think he just seems really relaxed. So he's confident, but he's not cocky, and I don't think he would go against the other traitors. But then we've only just met him, and potentially out of the 3, I think he's the most likely one, potentially 2 if he was going to. Number 2 was Ash. Quite surprised that Claudia picked Ash. I mean, she is very confident, she does look very good, but she's quite like quirky, quite funny, quite, you know, bubbly and that sort of thing. So maybe that's a reason that she was picked to be a traitor, because she doesn't seem like she's giving off traitory vibes. She can kind of be the giggly one to go and talk to everyone and, you know, get insight into whatever, and then when it's traitor mode, she can be like, right, well, these people told me this and I heard that from this person and whatever. And then she actually did go ahead and pick Harry as well. So Harry, the 22-year-old British Army guy, again, he basically said he's going to play the game as if he's just stupid, his stupid ditzy self, when actually he's quite smart. And then if there's someone he sees as competition, he will take them out. So Paul, Ash, Harry, very, very interesting traitor setup. But yeah, it was really, really good. And Claudia basically explained that the traitors were actually going to be choosing one more person to join them in the team for the traitors. So there'll actually be 4 traitors out of 22. So that's, I don't know how much in terms of percentage, but 4 out of 22 of them are basically against the other 18. And yeah, as soon as we revealed who the traitors were, they were able to take everyone was able to take their blindfolds off, and Diane looked straight at Harry and just said that she thought that he'd panicked. Like when Claudia came round, she thought that he like made a sigh or that he panicked or whatever. And Zach said that it was him kind of being like really like nervous or whatever. So I guess Harry felt straight away that Diane was picking on him, or that she felt like he was maybe a little bit weak or whatever, or she was just trying to dig seeds. And I think Zach came to Harry's, I guess, protection, because Harry was like, okay, cool, I'm out of the firing line now. Zach's basically admitted that, so he's basically put a target on himself. We were introduced to Johnny, so he's 31 years old, ex-military, also quite a good-looking man. And Paul said that he's obviously, as a traitor now, going to have to choose his friends, but also get rid of people that he sees as competition. So it's important to have allies, because if you are on your own and the traitors go against you, you're screwed. But if you do have a group of people who are going to vote with you, or you're going to take further on in the game, they could probably take the traitors out for you. If you go, oh, I don't really like what that person did, they can take the blame and you'll be in the clear. And then you can start taking out those people later on. Ash said that she wanted to get to know people, but she also needs to have a strategy at play here. So it's all well and good networking and making friends and that sort of thing, which she is doing, but she also needs to work out, right, who is strong, who is maybe working things out too much, who's too good at this game, who do we need to get rid of. And Diane quickly just said to Johnny that she potentially thinks Harry could be a traitor because it looked like he needed help once the blindfold came off. And Johnny said he's basically just going to observe and just see what happens, basically. So yeah, Diane and Johnny, I wouldn't say that's an ally. I would just say Diane's kind of just gone to someone who she thinks maybe is easy to give information to, and it's now up to Johnny, because he's the first person here that could spread these kind of lies. Is this going to get back to Harry that Diane has said this? I think so. And then, yeah, obviously Harry's then gone and spoken to a couple of the other people, saying that Diane's trying to plant seeds in order for people to think that he is the traitor. And then we found out that all three traitors, actually then there was a shot of the three of them sitting on the bench at the same time. I have no idea if that was planned or not, but in one of the rooms, I just saw Harry, Ash, Paul all sitting next to each other having a chat. So it was like, oh my God, they literally were all there. They've already done their initiation with each other. When they all found out that they were the traitors, so everyone else had gone to bed at this point, they'd gone with their capes, they did their, not their prayer, but their traitor calling, I guess, of like, yes, I'm gonna murder, and yes, I'm gonna, take people out and deceive people in the game. Paul said he had no suspicions of the two of them, and he basically said that some of the suggestions that they should go for in terms of who they recruit are either Miles, because he's obviously quite confident, Paul sees Andrew as a threat, and Sonia, just purely because whether she can make allies or not is basically, will she be better as a traitor to make allies and then take them out, or will she just be able to make allies as a faithful and let her just do her thing, and she might end up having a target on her own back later. Harry said that an option could be Diane, just kind of because he explained to Ash and Paul about the situation that he had with her, that she asked him if he was okay. And he basically said, well, actually, it could be a good thing to recruit her because then we're on the same team, and then she'll know exactly that I'm a traitor, and that hopefully we'll be allies or we just take her out. Paul said it's nice that they're building a good squad, and Ash said that they were the dream team. So at breakfast in the morning, all 22 of them obviously remained. So Aubrey basically said to Diane that he's being very, very observant. And obviously when Ash went in for breakfast, she basically said to the camera that she's not looking at any of the other traitors because she doesn't want to make it obvious. She doesn't want to give any signs away or, any weird body language or code or anything like that. So she's basically, hi, morning, whatever, and then moving on. And Sonia straight away went over to Ash and said to her, are you a traitor? At first, Ash couldn't quite hear. I'm not sure if she was trying to just ignore the question, but Sonia basically said to her, are you a traitor? And then she was going around to everyone asking them if they were a traitor. So Sonia's kind of just gone straight in. Like, at this point, she's a faithful. We don't know if she's the fourth person who's been recruited, but yeah, she went over to Ash straight away, and it was like a very brave thing to do. And they basically both said to each other, well, I hope you're not, and they did a little cheers to it. So obviously, little does Sonia know Ash is a traitor, and little does Ash know she could have recruited Sonia, or at this point, she might still be a faithful. In terms of the mission, so the first mission that Claudia gave to them had the phrase, you revel in the dryness of these cars. Don't know what that means. And they basically, some of them realised it was something to do with water or rafting or river or something, so they were kind of all along the right lines. Johnny, the ex-military guy, said that he obviously lost his leg at 21 years old in Afghanistan. Kind of was in a car blew up, and I guess that's kind of like a lifelong thing that you're going to deal with forever. Like, not everyone's going to have been in that situation, not everyone's going to be able to have come out of that situation. He basically said he was very, very lucky to be alive. So I think just respecting someone like that who has served for our country, you know, I know he's on a TV show, but at the same time it's like, yeah, he's gone through some difficult stuff, mental health, physical health, whatever else you have to go through with that sort of life. And he's also still here. He basically said he wanted people to see him as himself, not as him with a disability. So he obviously has a prosthetic leg as well, but like I said, many people didn't notice that. He said no one else offered him a chair or anything like that, so he just wants to be treated as if he's just a normal, ordinary person. The next player we were introduced to was Jazz. So he's 30. He's a national account manager. And then in terms of the game, all they had to do, well, like Claudia mentioned, is they had to build a beacon, set it alight in the middle of the log, and if they were able to do this, they would get £15,000 added to the pot. And then for those of you that don't know, the beacon is just the logo of the Traitors, and all of the different shapes were in different parts of the river. So obviously your stronger swimmers you're going to want to send out further. People that maybe can't swim or, you know, don't like water would rather just stay in the boats. And then people that maybe could swim a little bit but not that far, they could go and get the symbols that were a little bit closer, and then obviously bring them all together. And she basically explained here that not only were they playing for the money, they were also playing for their lives. So whilst the mission was going on for the team to get 15,000, there was also 3 shields which would protect you from being murdered at midnight. So the murderings were happening right at the end of the day, and before the murderings was the banishment table. So the banishment table, you all discuss, you kind of work out who it is you think is the traitor or the most suspicious person, and the person with the most votes actually gets banished from that table. So whether you have a shield or whether you don't have a shield, whether you're a traitor, faithful, whatever, the team go round and pick what things were suspicious about everyone, and if you are the person that's got the most votes, you are out. And then there's also a killing at the night time as well. So basically there's 2 murders every night, one during the day. The entire table will know who gets evicted as faithful or murderer. Faithful or traitor, so they'll all find out if they got rid of someone that's innocent or if they got rid of someone that's not innocent. And then also at night time when everyone's asleep, traitors come out and then take out a second person. So yeah, sometimes, you know, there might be 2 murders or sometimes there might be 3 or whatever, but as of now, I think in the first episode there was no banishment table and there was no murder at night time. We are just about to find out who the 4th traitor is. So yeah, anyway, during the game, yeah, like I explained, there was 3 shields, and it was basically just going to protect them from being murdered at night time, but it wouldn't get them out scot-free from the banishment table. They would still have to obviously speak up and, you know, prove as to why they are not they're not guilty or a traitor. The next player we quickly were introduced to was Molly. So she's 21, she's a disability model, and as the game started we found out they were actually all going to be tied up. So they were all basically just tied to the pole behind them, and they obviously, when they got released, Claudia basically said before the game started that are they going to focus more on the money part, so helping with the team to get the, you know, the logo and thing fixed, or will they help themselves, go grab a shield, and they'll be safe from the first night of eviction or the first night of banishment. So when Molly, obviously she only had one hand, so she's obviously a disability model, so she basically decided that she wanted to sometimes help some of the other people. And Kyra, 21, so she's an apprentice economist. She basically was like, right, I'm going straight for the shield. So I think she said, like, I'm one of the I am a team player, and, you know, she would help and that sort of thing, but she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to get eliminated first. And I think she just said, at this point, I'm just focusing on myself. I don't care what other people think about me at this point. So very brave to go for it. But also I think she did end up helping out later on in the challenge anyway, so it's not like she didn't do anything. And she also said that she found the picture of the beacon that they all needed to kind of replicate, so people can't say that she's not pulling her weight in this game because she kind of found what they were all looking for anyway. Ash and Kyra both explained that they were afraid of water, so they were both just in the boat and on the deck kind of trying to organise the shapes together. Jasmine said to Anthony that he was kind of steering the boat the wrong way, because it was those two, and I think there was another girl on their boat as well. They were basically steering round and round and round, so they were just going round in circles, and she basically said that he's doing her head in because they just keep going around in circles. So I wouldn't say they're enemies, I wouldn't say that they were against each other at all. I just think she was getting really stressed because he's not been in a boat before, which is not his fault, but they're obviously not moving and they're not able to get these logos, so yeah, not great teamwork there. Jazz, he decided to also grab the shield. Again, he was kind of in a boat with people going back to shore with their logos, and he just said, look, I'm really sorry guys, I need to go grab that shield, I'm just a little bit nervous. So he just jumped out of the boat, grabbed the shield, and I think Johnny at this point said, well, he's not coming back in our boat, so yeah, I think there's kind of like, there's a few people obviously straight away who, you know, it's more important for them to stay in the game than to get that money, but at the same time there's a lot of them who obviously want that money. So hopefully these two things don't clash, of like, you got your shield, you're safe for the day, but then are you going to get eliminated the next day, or are you going to keep like getting through? So who knows. And Harry, again, he's obviously the traitor, and he basically said he wanted to do teamwork, and he wanted to show the rest of the people in the game that he can work with other people, but he also said he wants to grab that shield because a traitor wouldn't want to go for the shield and wouldn't need to go for the shield because they're already going to not be eliminated from the game. So yeah, he went for the shield. And Brian, so this is the photographer, so he basically said that he's not usually a controlling person, but he was the only one that was shouting instructions, and he was just looking at lots of confused faces, but he was able to basically tell people where they needed to go, where they needed to put the shape in order to make that beacon. Charlie said 15,000 is more money than she can imagine. Evie, so she's the other vet nurse, so she's 29. She said that Zach made a comment that he was going to sleep easy. And obviously they did win the challenge, so they got £15,000 added to the pot. And Kyra, Jazz and Harry obviously all got their shield for that first night. So when they got back to the house, I think the conversation was literally all about who said that they were going to sleep easy tonight. Is that someone who potentially is giving off traitor vibes? Or is it just a side comment that, you know, they shouldn't have just said, like, they're going to sleep easy because they did well in the challenge, but it could come across as like a traitory kind of thing. So there were some drinks. So you had a Traitor's Tipple, you had a Faithful Fancy, quite interesting names. And Diane, so the retired teacher, said that she was doing a lot of people watching, just because at this point you just need to kind of see what people are doing, how people are like talking to other people, their body language, things like that. So yeah, very smart thing to do. You don't want to do that all the time, because then people are going to think your game plan as a traitor is just to work people out. So you've got to be careful. You still have to act human, but you still have to have some sort of game plan as well. And Andrew basically said to a couple of them that he wasn't sure what he would do if he was a traitor. Obviously it's not an easy decision. And then Zach said to Anthony that it seemed like he had troubles on the boat, and Anthony basically replied and said, oh, well, who's told you that? Like, that's quite interesting. And they had a little chat, and Zach said, well, I hope you're not offended, things like that. And Anthony said, no, but there's obviously someone who's kind of trying to stir some gossip, so I don't know who it was. I think it was Jasmine, but I think she basically said to some of the others that Anthony was really not good at being in a boat. And he said, well, you know, he said to a different group, because obviously they were in two separate rooms. Jasmine was with a group of people, Anthony and Zach were with a few others. And Anthony said to his little group, he's never been on a boat before, so how are they going to expect him to be able to ride a boat or use a boat or whatever, and how is that giving off traitor vibes? Just because you can't ride or be in a boat, that's not really your problem. And Miles said that he obviously wanted to go under the radar. So yeah, I think obviously he's quite a bubbly, fun, confident person, so he just wants to go chat, network, whatever, doesn't want to be seen as a target, doesn't want to have things against himself. He said, what did he say? I think he said, let the walls fight each other. So he would just be there, and then everyone else would just argue amongst themselves. And then Sonia brought up again to a different group that someone said that they would sleep easy tonight, and I think she asked Ross, because I think it was Ross that heard Zach say it. So Ross is 28, he's a video director, and he basically said to the camera that it seems like Sonia is trying to like change people's words, or, you know, kind of stir drama and that sort of thing. And he obviously, that Ross guy did explain that it was Zach who said that he was going to sleep easy tonight, so they're all a bit like, why would he say that? Like, is it because he's a traitor, he knows he won't get eliminated? Is it because he's a faithful, he's just very confident? Like, what is the reason he said that? And then Sonia said to Paul that she would have a Traitor's Tipple in terms of the drink, and not to take anything from that. She just genuinely wanted that as the drink, so he had a little giggle. And again, at this point, we don't know if she was that fourth recruit or if she genuinely is a faithful, trying to make a genuine connection with somebody else in the game. Aubrey said to Ash that he knows at least one of the traitors. He just straight away just got an idea, and he said as soon as people lifted up their blindfolds, people have changed. So again, I don't know if he's indirectly saying that he thinks Ash is a traitor, or if he definitely has views on someone, but he definitely thinks someone is a traitor. We found out at the end of the episode that Paul said it's about to get one hell of a lot stronger, because obviously their three traitors were going to be recruiting the fourth. Ash said they had a really good choice of who they'd picked, and at the end of the episode, all we saw is the fourth traitor in their cape, walking towards where they all were, and obviously was going to introduce themselves again to the rest of the traitors as a group. So that is basically it for the first episode. I do hope you enjoyed my review. It was very long, but I feel like with the first episodes, they are always quite long because they're very dramatic, very detailed, very, you know, there's just so many things going on at the moment, so many different conversations. 22 people, as of now. We're going to have a 4th traitor announced, and we're going to have our first banishment or first murder tomorrow night. So remember, banishments, they are at the round table. So after each challenge or after each game or whatever, at the banishment table, they all kind of discuss who they think has done things that are a bit weird or suspicious, or ask people who they think are traitors and things. Someone gets eliminated there, and you find out then and there, are they a faithful or a traitor? And then at the end of the night, if people don't have a shield, they're not safe. If they do have a shield, they are safe. And the traitors, as their group of 4, will decide who to get rid of from the game. And then, yeah, later on we find out, you know, the traitors, will they go against each other, try and take each other out of the banishment table? Will they continue to work together throughout the entire game? Or, you know, will someone kind of put in their, you know, 2 pence of thoughts and go, actually, I think this person is a traitor, and gets them banished from the game, and then kind of they then become a target themselves. So it's a very weird game, but yeah, that is it for the first episode. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and until my next review, thank you for watching and goodbye.